We've been recognized with national awards for our sustainability initiatives because we're developing a reputation as a county that's really leading on climate resilience initiatives.
But my name is Yaira Robinson. I'm the Assistant Director for Sustainability at Travis County TNR. We are really excited to be here today. This has been a project about 2 years in the making, led by Amanda Kemp, but with full participation and input from staff leaders across the county who are working in their own divisions and teams to do what they can to reduce our environmental impact. So we're here to share that with you today, and I'll hand it over to Amanda to lead the presentation.
All right, thank you. Good morning, everyone, Judge, Commissioners. My name is Amanda Kemp, and I'm the Program Manager for TNR's Operational Sustainability Program. As Yaira announced, I'm here today to present the 2026 Climate Action Plan update to the court. Before this voting session started, each of you should have received a copy of the Climate Action Plan, and you may have noticed, excuse me, that it's a rather lengthy document. So today's presentation is going to be a very high-level overview of the plan. But if anyone would like to meet to discuss the plan in more detail after hearing my presentation, I'm more than happy to do that. We can go to the next slide. So before I dive in, I do want to clarify that today we will be discussing the internal climate action plan as related to our county business operations. I won't be presenting anything related to our environmental resilience program or our community climate action planning. Next one. And with that, I will get started. So on this first slide, you'll see a short outline of the topics we'll be discussing today. I'm going to start by giving a little bit of a background on this project as it relates to climate change. We'll discuss the different steps the county has taken to try and combat climate change, including the development of this plan, and also what comes next now that the plan has been completed. You can go to the next one. So let me start with some background information. You can go to the next one. All right. First, I think it's important that we understand the definition of climate change. This is the process in which there is a shift in the Earth's average weather patterns, primarily due to human activities. So these are things such as farming, deforestation, the burning of fossil fuels, most significantly, things like coal, oil, and natural gas. These activities release heat-trapping gases known as greenhouse gases into our atmosphere, and this causes the surface and water temperatures to rise much faster than they would naturally. You can go to the next one. Climate change threatens our globe, and this includes our local area right here in Travis County. We're facing more extreme heat and cold, severe weather events such as flooding, droughts, wildfires, and even more severe winter storms. Climate change also adds to our air pollution, and it results in rising sea levels, the loss of crops and animals, and it even spreads the diseases carried by insects. You can go to the next one. No sector is immune to the impacts of climate change. It affects our public health, our transportation, agriculture, recreation, and even tourism. It threatens our economy, our safety, our quality of life, and it especially impacts underserved communities. Next slide. So given all of these threats to our community, let's talk about how Travis County is responding as an organization. Go to the next slide. First, the Commissioners Court passed a resolution back in 2020 that included a goal for the county to reach net zero emissions as an organization by the year 2030. Next slide. If this concept is new to you, net zero is the state where the amount of greenhouse gas released into the atmosphere is equal to the amount removed. So as an organization, we have many practices that emit greenhouse gases. These are things like our energy and fuel consumption, our water usage, even the generation of waste, to name a few. The key is to first work to reduce those emissions and then develop initiatives and practices that offset what's left to reach the state of net zero. So to do that, the Commissioners Court directed county departments to develop our first climate action plan for internal operations, which would be a roadmap to net zero. Next one. Our first climate action plan was developed back in 2019, and it was approved by the court in 2020. The original plan was organized into 7 key focus areas. These are energy, water, waste, transportation, purchasing, culture, and resiliency. The idea was that by implementing these practices, within these areas, we could result in lowering our greenhouse gas emissions, which would in turn get us closer to our goal of net zero. So how do we know if we're getting close to this goal? Well, many of these practices are actually measurable. You can go to the next slide. We measure our emissions by way of what's called a greenhouse gas inventory. This is an annual record of the greenhouse gases generated by a specific source. So in our case, Travis County as an organization is the source. This inventory encompasses both emissions released as well as quantifiable offsetting activities. Each year, we report these numbers in our sustainability report. Next slide. So we've been doing this work for several years now. I've been talking about 2020. So why update the plan now, 6 years later in 2026? Well, shortly after the 2020 plan was approved, COVID-19 hit and brought rapid changes to our operations. We transitioned suddenly to remote work and electronic processes, and this resulted in unprecedented reduction in our emissions. However, as the acute phase of the pandemic ended, hybrid business operations emerged. So county leaders now had to find a way to balance these environmental issues that we were facing with employee mental health as well as customer needs. So it was in this context that conversations began on how to update the climate action plan. You can go to the next slide.
I think y'all cut me out of that picture.
We did. Oh, man. Well, it's in the sustainability report, too, I believe. Okay, so to give a very brief overview of the process we went through for our climate action plan update, county department leaders met all throughout 2024 to revisit the original climate action plan. Each goal was reassessed considering our new hybrid operations. We asked ourselves, do these goals still make sense? We also formulated new ideas to include in the updated plan. Then in 2025, the meetings were concluded, the data was compiled and tabulated, and then the plan was written and finalized in 2026. Go to the next slide. One change I'd like to highlight from our updated plan is that the key focus areas have changed slightly. So we went from 7 key focus areas that I had mentioned previously now to 8. So to list them out, they're now air quality, which includes transportation, culture, energy, purchasing, resiliency, waste, and water. These all stayed the same. And then we added nature as a new addition to our key focus areas. And we added nature really so we could give special emphasis to our land restoration projects, our carbon sequestration efforts, and other similar initiatives. Go to the next slide. This slide here is an excerpt from the new plan and shows our table of activities and some of the goals that are organized into one of the 8 key focus areas. This example is specific to our water category, but there's about 20 more pages of activities for you to read through at another time. Obviously, I can't go through all of those today. You can go to the next one. So now that our plan has been completed, how do we measure progress and what are the next steps? You can go to the next one. As I mentioned earlier, each year we gather data related to the county's climate planning initiatives, and we compile that information into the sustainability report. Anything that is quantifiable will be calculated by way of the greenhouse gas inventory, and then we present that information each year to the court. Go to the next one. And we'll actually be bringing the FY25 report to court later this summer. At that time, we'll take a deeper dive into some of the items that I brought up, such as our goal of net zero, our greenhouse gas inventory, and our FY25 climate planning initiatives and accomplishments. You can go to the next slide. So to start to bring this presentation to a close, I'd like to share just a few of our top recommendations on how we can continue to work towards our goal of net zero emissions now that we have our new plan in place. First is continuing progress on the existing activities in the plan. So these are things that the county is already doing. and also implementing our new goals to help lower our pollution. Second is to enroll all of our facilities in green utility programs and expand our connections with the city's Purple Pipe program. Third is to continue to connect with other local governments to share resources and best management practices. Fourth is to encourage all departments to adopt initiatives that align with the Climate Action Plan. Next is to expand our education and outreach efforts across the county to promote a culture shift towards greener ways of doing business. And last is to expand green team efforts to continue bridging gaps across the departments. And that actually concludes the presentation, but I would like to extend a special thanks to the Commissioners Court for your time and support through this process. Also to Judge Brown and Commissioner Shea for your messages that contributed to our updated plan. We're very grateful for that. Also to Commissioner Howard and Commissioner Shea for your support through the Green Steering Committee. We'd also like to thank all of the county departments. I met with about 25 different groups. The meetings were very time-consuming and very beneficial, and we're really grateful for everyone's time as part of this process. We also want to thank our external partners for ongoing collaboration. And lastly, our Green Team members who help spread awareness of these issues on a day-to-day basis.